Hello, beautiful people. Hello, hello, hello. Happy Monday. Happy Monday, happy Monday, happy Monday. I hope everyone is having an amazing, fantastic Monday. Happy Monday. Super excited about today. We are having another Hues of Beauty discussion, and we will be talking all things entrepreneurship, beauty, and I'm super excited about our guest. This is my true sister with the right shade of blue, that Duke blue, and I'm super excited for her to come in. So let me go ahead and invite her. So just hold tight. Good. You look so pretty. You look so refreshed.
Thank you. I have go ahead and say hey, because I know you're going to want to do it at some point. My little here. She's dying to be in the video. All right, go over there.
Yeah, she made her debut. She has to come back because nobody's here. So nobody saw.
She will. She'll be. I told her, I was like, you have to stay in there. But of course she comes, I hear her creeping in here.
How are you? Happy Monday.
Good. Happy Monday. Yes, it's definitely Monday. We had doctor's appointments today, so.
Yeah. Monday is always so refreshing and just kind of overwhelming a little bit too. I'm just like, oh yeah. And then after you get through Monday, it's like, okay, we can kind of glaze through the weekend.
Yes, absolutely.
Perfect. Well, tell everyone who you are, where you are. So let's talk about your educational background, how you got into entrepreneurship, beauty, all of the things.
Okay, so my name's Sammy, or Samantha Emmons. I am a nurse practitioner. I have been mostly in primary care for most of my career, and yes, a fellow Duke graduate, so very excited about that. And I started my entrepreneurship kind of journey last year in February in the medical spa space. Go up there. And so opened our first med spa in February, and then the second one October, then November, and then the fourth one in December. So we are in our first full year of 4 med spas. So we definitely as a team are learning and figuring it out. So it's been very much a dive into entrepreneurship, as one might call it.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I'm so excited to unpack all of the things. So, okay, primary care to aesthetics. Tell us about that transition, because it's quite a transition. Tell us about how did we get there?
It is a transition, definitely. So, how it came about is really just kind of one day I said, hey, I'm going to go take this class and learn how to inject, and then it kind of just went from there. But it's been really nice having the background in primary care, especially now that we're kind of dabbling some in the, hormones and weight loss, also aspect of it, just to have the good, knowledge foundation of when I'm looking at their history or their medications, things like that, having that background to where certainly it makes for a safer practice when doing those kind of things. And kind of knowing, about medications and some of the basic ones and maybe how they can interact and things like that actually does kind of translate into the aesthetic world too. So really glad that I did primary care first, because it definitely makes me feel a lot more confident as I'm treating patients, not only in aesthetics, but, like the dermatology aspect of it and all that too. So I think it's been a really nice transition, but going from insurance to non-insurance has been great too. So
yeah, so that's the entrepreneurship, right? Like
yes.
People say they leave that 9 to 5, and it's like we work 9 to 5 to like work 24/5, 24/7 or something like that. Like you think you're trading one thing, but it's pros and cons on both sides of it. So absolutely. Tell us, okay, so you took the course, you was like, okay, I'm liking this, and now we're 4 practices in, right? Tell me about this 4 practices. This is amazing to me. This is awesome. Tell us how you got there.
So I think a lot of ways. I would say the most important thing, and I could say this to any entrepreneur, is finding the right staff, teammates, family, all that to kind of come together, because I could not, especially still being in primary care, I couldn't do 1/10 of what I do without having really cherry-picked staff that really aligns with my goals, my morals most importantly. So I would say definitely got here because of my staff and then also our clients. So we have just been really exceptionally blessed. Sometimes in the medical aesthetic space, you know, there's some types of clientele you can certainly attract. So we try to, you know, kind of be mindful of that. But we have been really, really blessed with all of our clientele. And I think that we do a really good job attracting the clientele that's going to be kind of in line with our goals too. So I think that that makes a big difference. You know, especially giving the educational component and things like that, making people feel at home, making people feel comfortable, but also having the ability to say, hey, I know you're asking for this, but you don't necessarily need that. So I think all those things are important too, to not only grow the business, but also grow the environment inside your business that you're looking to kind of culture.
Yeah, perfect. Now, that's really nice because, you know, I think finding the right team is very important, especially as like you've done, as you're trying to expand. One of the things that I've, you know, been in and out with is finding the right team. It's like, okay, I need that strong office manager. I need, you know, all of those things. How are you weeding them out? Give us one little tip. If we had to do it ourselves, what's one thing you would like, if they have this, then that's your person?
Right. So I don't necessarily think it's one thing, but I will say that another unique thing about our team is that everybody that is on our team kind of brings something different to the table, right? So they're not all cookie cutter like this, like every single person's been practicing for X amount, and this is their background, and this is their goals. I think we've done a really good job making a melting pot at Revive. So, you know, like one person may be really good at social media, where me, I'm like, how do I get on Instagram Live again? Like, how do I do that? And then, you know, another person might be really good at, you know, marketing emails, and another person might be really good at teaching all of us, you know, how to speak to people. So I think that not so much cookie cutter, this is exactly what you're looking for, but more like making sure that you have a good blend of those personalities to where you can kind of all work together and make it work. Because it is, owning a small business is, you know, loads of fun, but it is difficult. But I would say another thing that's been helpful for me is I don't necessarily say I need this position, I'm going to go hire for this position. It's more or less I've met people along my journey, whether that's been through, you know, friends of my daughter or primary care, precepting students, things like that, where I've been like, okay, I align with this person in some kind of way. Let me find a way that I can incorporate them into not only my personal life, but my business too. So they say don't hire friends, of course, because there's a fine line between that too. But I think that you just come across people in your life that you're like, that's my person, like that's my people, I got to keep them. And so most of the people that work at Revive have kind of been that kind of background where it's been like, okay, I need to keep this person in my life. And so it just, you know, naturally transitions that they come work for, you know, the business, and then we've just been lucky. It's just worked out really well.
Yes. It sounds like you have the secret sauce, whether you know it or not. I'm not sure. I feel like I need to like rub off or something. I can get some sauce.
Yes.
Yeah. I think that it is important, like that synergy that you're talking about how people are just kind of playing off each other. Like, and when you get that team, like when you get that core, you're like, oh, don't let it go.
Yes. Well, and then when it works so well, you're like, oh, we want to grow, but our team is so good. Like, do we really want to add anybody else? You know, you get a little nervous about that, but it's worked out so far. So we're that part's really exciting. But I do think that the team that you choose to, you know, not only work with every day, but also, I mean, that's the brand of your business. And, you know, the things that they portray, how they speak to clients, how they act outside of work, those things are important, and it does reflect back on the business. So I think that you really have to really be mindful of that.
Yeah. And I think this is another, like, when we talk about entrepreneurship, a lot of people think it's just about you working for you. But as you grow, you have to build these teams. You have to kind of like put all of these pieces together. And that's another part of entrepreneurship that I don't think that we talk about enough, is that you have to find your team. You have to find your people. And it's not a linear process. I've
Yes.
gone through some office managers. I'm scared. I'm sorry to say, but sometimes it just doesn't work. And you have to identify that really quickly because it does. It's your brand. It's your retention. It's all of those things. And so I think that's another layer of entrepreneurship that I'm glad we're touching on, because I don't think that we talk about you are the boss. Not only
Right.
the worker, you're also the boss.
Well, and your staff definitely directly correlates to your sanity level too. So I think identifying, is this contributing positively to my life every day, or is this contributing negatively? And
Yes.
making those decisions definitely when it's not right. And we have had, let me not say that we are not immune to that. We have had a situation where it didn't work out. So, and you find that out the hard way. And my girls will tell you that was a very difficult situation for me, because I don't like confrontation. So that's definitely my weakness. I want to see the good in everybody, but sometimes when it's right in front of your face as a business owner, you have to address it. And it's not my favorite part of being an entrepreneur, for sure.
Yeah. But again, that's one of those ugly pieces we don't discuss. Everybody thinks it's the beauty, the glam, and the social media. No, it's behind the scenes. We have to get our hands dirty. Hi.
Say hi.
So, as we're talking about entrepreneurship and you getting into it, tell us about a time where you feel like you made, I don't want to say mistake, but it was a learning lesson for you, and how you implemented it to become better.
So I would say I learn lessons every single day. Unfortunately, some good and some not so good. Stop, Whitley. I think, and this probably goes more towards the aesthetic small business space, but I think most importantly, the hardest lesson to learn is when you kind of jump in and let's say you buy a device and you think it's going to be great and it's going to be wonderful, but you really have to really ask the right questions. And I think when you're starting out, you don't know what the right question is. And so unfortunately, you kind of start to learn those things as you start doing the day-to-day and figuring them out. But I would say one of the biggest lessons is definitely not jumping in and buying a bunch of things that you don't necessarily need, because then you're spending more time trying to get them used more so than you are doing anything else. So that can be a really hard lesson to learn. And I think that kind of goes across most small businesses too, because you're like, oh, I want to do this marketing and I want to do this and that. But sometimes just stepping back and saying, it's okay to not do anything right now. Like, that's okay. It's hard, but I think definitely a good lesson to learn too.
Yeah, I think that's good, because I think, again, as entrepreneurs, we get attracted to like the shiny thing and we chase it, right? I've had to be very, I want to buy a device so bad, and I'm just like, I'm not going to do it till 2025. I'm going to weigh my options into 2025, because and that's just not with devices, with anything. Like, you want to just jump in and try it. Not saying that you shouldn't. Entrepreneurship can be very, you can discover, and it's a journey, right? We're always trying to find different things, but being intentional with it, that is what I've learned. That is my goal for 2024. I said I'm going to do everything with intention. It has to make sense to the bottom.
Absolutely.
Because I think 2023 for us in business, we were just kind of throwing stuff against the wall, the sticks, and that's a part of the journey. But being intentional about everything, like how does this kind of trickle back down? What our goals, what our mission, what are we trying to do? So very good. Now, so if you could give one advice to your current self, can you give one piece of advice to your younger self, or even your daughter, about entrepreneurship, beauty, what would that be?
Oh, I say this all the time. So one of my favorite quotes is, if not me, then who? And it's very short, but it gives me chill bumps every time I say it, because I can't tell you how many times a day I have specifically young women come up to me and they say, oh my gosh, what you're doing is amazing, and how have you done all this, and how have, this and that. But I think I just kind of woke up and was like, hey, I'm doing this, and just did it. Like, didn't really think about it, which is probably not great business advice. But I mean, I would say that the only difference in, you know, you and somebody who is doing these things is, instead of writing out a plan on paper and doing all that, they just did it. And so I think it's important, especially as women, and especially as women coming up in a time now where we're not only expected to, you know, mother children and be educated and keep up a household and have a job and do all these things, that as much as it is difficult, that it's important for us to teach younger women, and also, like you said, me having a daughter, that women can do everything. We can do it well. So we don't have to give 20% as a mom, 20% as a wife, 20% as an employee, that we really have the functionality because of the way that we're built to give 100% in all aspects.
Right.
So I think, you know, not just being one thing, being all the things that you want to be is so powerful, especially for young women, because they, you know, are now able to have good role models and have women who, you know, because I mean, I didn't come up with family that own businesses and wealthy and things like that. I'm gonna be paying my student loan for the rest of my life. So, but yeah, just showing them that it is possible, and I'm just a normal, average, everyday person that said, "Hey, I'm gonna do this," and I'm just doing it. So, yeah, I think it.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I love it. Like, just do it. Just do it. Yeah.
And people, they'll ask me too, they're like, well, how did you know how to do, you know, X, Y, and Z? Somebody's asked me this today. How did you know how to do da-da-da? I'm like, girl, I Googled it. Or like, you know, I looked it up on Facebook or whatever. Like, because, but you know, especially in the aesthetic world, there's no blueprint. There's no, everything is so gray.
Yes.
So I think that, and then also just being you know, a lifelong learner. Obviously, we both chose to go back to school and get higher education, and we chose the best school to do that.
Absolutely. Go Blue Devils.
But I think even now, I still crave that education. So, and I know, you know, that we just started the Charlotte Aesthetics Providers Group. And more or less just to have people that are going through the same thing with us as we are, to network with and learn from and kind of see what everybody else is doing, but also just to come together as a group and say, hey, like, I see you. I know you've had 17 no-shows this week like me because of summer break, girl. Let's talk this out together. But I think it just surrounding yourself with people who are like-minded, who are, you know, pursuing their dreams, and also who are having the same struggles as you. That's important to have those people in your corner.
You know, I feel like we can wrap it up because you said everything that needs to be said. I absolutely agree 100% with everything you just said. Like, I do. Let's talk about like networking. Let's talk about connecting. I want to hear about I actually met you through this program that you guys are doing. Remind me of the name, North Carolina.
So it's Charlotte Aesthetic Providers.
Charlotte Aesthetic Providers. I actually met you through that. You guys were having an event there. I agree. I feel like it is important, and that's kind of where Hues of Beauty was birthed from as well. Is that sometimes this journey can be so lonely, and it's just like, am I the only one that doesn't have anybody on my books today? Or like, and it is so encouraging. It's so rewarding. It's so like refilling for somebody to say, no, girl, you're actually not alone. Like, this together, whatever. So tell us a little bit more about that. If someone wants to connect with you all, how do they connect? Tell us all of the details there.
Absolutely. So I know that some of my co-starters, owners of Charlotte Aesthetic Providers are on here, and they're going to kill me because you asked me the question of how you get in touch with us, and I don't know the answer. No, I'm just kidding. We do have a email address, and I know Sam is on here, so she'll drop it in the comments because she's really good about that.
Perfect.
And we also have an Instagram page, so following our Instagram page kind of keeps you up to date on when our next events are. But essentially what it is about every 2 months we put together an event, and we had our first one maybe a month ago, where we just kind of all got together, did meet and greet, you know, kind of tell who we are. All three of us who she just dropped it in there, Aesthetic Nurse Sam, she knows the stuff, I told you. So we kind of get together and we had plans for different events. Our next one is going to be September Sam, don't kill me. It's either, I think it's September 4th. And we are going to post more information about it this week, but it's going to be really good. So we're very excited. But not just geared towards injectors. So injectors, anybody kind of in the aesthetic space, estheticians, things like that. But we talk about different skincare stuff. We definitely talk about, things that can happen in the office as far as like vascular occlusion, stuff like that. But most importantly, outside of the educational component that's going to come with each one is the networking, just getting together and saying, who does what, who trains on what. So, and that was another thing. We also now are rolling out our training program.
Yeah.
So we've started that up. We actually have our first one coming up in about 2 weeks, but we do have a training program. So obviously we have information about that too, which you can either get through Revive Aesthetics and Wellness, or through the Charlotte Aesthetics group. So really good for people who, are just starting out, and whether they want to be, kind of talk about the business aspect of it, or they want to come be trained on fillers or, neurotoxins or skin pin, or, kind of whatever it is, whether they're totally new to aesthetics or they've been practicing for 10 years and just kind of want a refresher type thing. So just trying to, network together, get everybody on the same page, and really just let people know, hey, like we're in this together. We want to support each other. And hopefully nothing ever arises negatively, but I know me personally, because I didn't have a mentor, I didn't have anybody I shadowed, I just kind of started, didn't know anybody, had emergency protocols obviously really well in place, but still at the end of the day, if something were to happen, I would love to have a list of people that I'm like, oh, okay, I know they have, 10 vials of Hylenex, and they have, whatever, ultrasound. So just kind of knowing who has what in the area, who to call if you have questions, who's really good at this and who's really good at that kind of thing. And then also just having somebody to say, this week was tough,
Right.
because we do have those weeks. It looks great on social media for everybody. You're like, God, that girl's killing it. But what you don't see is, like I said, 7 other people no-showed, or, they got a shipment of Dysport that sat out in the sun for 2 days because nobody was there to get it. And I'm not saying that from experience, or maybe I am. But stuff like that happens,
Yeah.
But just hearing that other people it's happening to also is very helpful.
Yeah. It helps like bring you off the ledge. Like, let me
Yes.
Yes. So I am super excited about all of the things. I can't wait for the training class. I am actually like a sucker for a training class. Like, I'm at every training class. I'm like,
Yes.
I gotta know. So I'm super excited. I will definitely put this information in the notes after this live, so everyone can have that information, and they don't have to like dig too far for that, because it's super exciting. And it's not just for RNs, it's also for estheticians as well. So estheticians are also welcome to this, and it's the business side of things. I think we as entrepreneurs, it looks the hands-on is really, really important, but the business side is what's really going to sustain you. You got to know the business. And I've learned that the hard way. You got to know the numbers. You got to know.
Yes.
So I'm super excited. And I definitely think that it being by local providers is just another benefit. So I'm super excited.
Yes, we are too. We are very excited. It's been a lot of fun just planning and kind of getting it together. And of course, every time we get together to plan the next event, we're like, oh, we should do this, we should do that, we should do that. And we're like, okay, one event at a time. But we actually got confirmation today on our November event, which I can't share yet, but it's going to be really good too. So it's just fun. And it's just good information to have out there, because again, the aesthetics world is so great. So great.
Yeah, and it can be very frustrating as a clinician to be in aesthetics, because it is so great. It's like no one can give a straight answer. Are we governed by the Board of Nursing? Are we governed by the North Carolina Medical Board? Like, who's over us?
Exactly. I know every time we add something new, I'm like, what do we actually have in place? What do we have to have in place to do this? And I'll go on, like, because there's a lot of good Facebook pages out there with groups and stuff, and I'll go on there and look, and I'll search for it, and I'll see like 70 people have the same question as me, and I'm going through, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to find the answer, but I'm like, oh no, they keep asking us nobody's answer, because nobody knows. So yeah. But again, same thing, having community to see that nobody else really knows either. So
yeah. So you're not that far behind. Perfect. This was amazing. I really appreciate your time. I feel like there's so many other things that we can discuss, and I just want to just keep it really brief. You said so much about collaboration, about networking, about your experience. I am just honored that you took the time. If you had to leave us with one thing, what would it be?
If not me, then who?
Period. I love it. I love it. Tell everyone where they can see you, find you, about Revive. Tell us about that, where they can find you.
So my Instagram is the Revive NP. Had to think about that because it's new. And then Revive Me NC is our Instagram for Revive. It's probably easiest to find all of us on there, because if you go on there and click, you'll be able to get to like Charlotte Aesthetic Providers. You can get our trainings, all that kind of stuff on there. So probably the Revive page, because we try to keep everything there. And then we have a website too, which is revivemenc.co. And you can also email us at revivemenc@gmail.com. Okay. And any of the questions about Charlotte Aesthetic Providers or group meetups or any of that, if you forget, you can always send it through our Revive Gmail too.
Perfect. So all of this information again will be in the notes. If you're watching this live after it is posted, it'll be in the notes, okay? And you can probably just click on Sam's page, and it'll probably go to where it needs to go to. So we don't want you to get confused with the details. Just make sure you get it, okay? Make sure you get it.
Yes.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I look forward to the next event.
Yes, I'll see you there.
Yes, ma'am.
Stay tuned, because we should be announcing one day this week where it is and what it actually entails. So it's going to be really good.
Perfect. Well, I'll be looking out for it. And thank you so much. And you have a good night.
Thank you. You too.
Bye.
Bye.